momento más esperado de la noche. Irá el Miss Internacional, Miss Costa Oriental, porque Miss Venezuela 2000 es Miss Apure, la señorita Eva Ekdal.
I have in my hand the name of the woman who will be crowned Miss Universe 2001. The third runner-up is Venezuela.
Was crowned Miss Venezuela in 2000, and the following year was the third runner-up in the Miss Universe pageant. Last year, she made a terrifying discovery. At the age of 27, she was diagnosed with breast cancer and eventually had to get a double mastectomy. But what made her experience unique is she decided to chronicle it in a series of photographs she would later publish. The best-selling book, Fuera de Foco, or Out of Focus, is now raising awareness about breast cancer in a country where the word breast is usually synonymous with implants.
I feel that I finally have overcome this sickness, and now it's changed my life for the better. It really has. I feel this great responsibility also as a spokeswoman about this horrible sickness to some, you know, because to me it hasn't really been that horrible. To me it's been actually eye-opening and has helped me to understand who I am and where I'm going. And I think that happens with cancer sometimes. Sometimes it's just a slap in the face.
Right.
A nice slap in the face sometimes,
Yeah.
if you survive.
What we call a wake-up call.
7:48 in the a.m. Born March 15, 1983 in Caracas, Venezuela, as a TV hostess known for her various TV shows with Televen. She was a finalist in the Miss Universe 2001 contest. Eva has a degree in communications from the Universidad Santa Maria in Caracas. Ekdal is fluent in both Spanish and English since she has lived in the United States in the past, and because she attended Academia Washington, a bilingual school in Caracas. She held the title of Miss Venezuela in 2000 and was the third runner-up in the 2001 Miss Universe pageant. She's also famous among Venezuelan fashion magazines, including Ocean Drive and Sambil, among others. In February 2010, Ekdal was diagnosed with advanced breast cancer and underwent 8 months of treatment. Let's say good morning to her, and joining her this morning is Dr. Ted Emanuel. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
Pleasure being in your company. Doc, always good having you in Antigua. You need to fly in more often. We need to make it a law that you have to be here every weekend.
Well, I'm here every 2 weeks.
That's not good enough.
No?
Every weekend, I think.
Jamaica has quite a population, you know.
Every weekend is less than 2 weeks, so
Well,
if you figure out the math.
Yeah, but we love him here, so we want him here all the time. Is that good enough, Ted?
That's good enough. We'll change a few things.
Okay, and I'll make sure the laws are passed.
All right.
Let's go back, Eva, to a time before you were diagnosed. Tell us about Eva the person. We've heard about the glitz and glamour of you on stage, and you are devastatingly beautiful. The shots that I was asking her if she worked out a lot. That shot in you in swimsuit is priceless.
Well,
Tell us
that
about
was 10
Eva
years
the
ago.
person.
That was 11 years ago. I worked very hard in order to get that figure and look that way, because to go to Miss Universe pageant, you have to look perfect, especially if you're Miss Venezuela. Venezuela always has to be up there in the top 10, at least in the top 5. So I had to make sure I had that body. And I was actually very conscious at the time that that body wasn't going to last forever, because it takes a lot of work, a lot of. I was in the gym twice a day, and I was barely eating. I mean, it was crazy. So I don't know if that would happen again. You tell me.
It's happening.
Ted says it's happening. You don't worry about that at all.
Yes.
But let's now talk about your diagnosis. And I want to go back to either when you discovered, you'll explain it to us, if you discovered a lump, or is it when you were sitting in the office waiting on the results? Tell us about your diagnosis.
Well, I had just had a little baby. I had a 6-month-old child, and during my pregnancy, I had felt the lump. I had felt the lump for a long time, but I thought it had something to do with my pregnancy. I thought it was a hormonal change in my body. So it grew, and I started breastfeeding, and I thought that by breastfeeding it would go down. It was complete ignorance from me, and I believe that that there is a lot of ignorance around breast cancer. I am somebody who, like you just said, went to school. I am in communications. Usually people who study communications know a little bit about everything. My aunt had breast cancer twice. My grandmother died of breast cancer, and still I was a perfect ignorant.
But as human beings, don't we always think it can't happen to me?
Yes, I was 26 years old. I mean, the last thing on my mind was breast cancer. As a matter of fact, I went to the doctor for him to take this lump out because it just bothered me. It was more about maybe aesthetics, maybe just the fact that I was uncomfortable with it, and I just had him do a test for them to see what it is, even though cancer wasn't even in my options of what it could have been, and they tested me, and it came out positive for breast cancer, and it was very advanced.
Let's go back to when you got that news, because that cannot be good news for anyone at all. And I've been in conversation with many people who would say, oh boy, if I went to the doctor and he told me I had cancer or told me I had HIV, I would do this and I would do that. But you never know until it happens, do you?
Yes, you never know, of course, because that's what the doctors are for and the tests are for. But I don't regret anything. I don't say, if I would have done this earlier, if I would have done that. Because maybe if I would have known during my pregnancy, it would have been a lot more difficult. And pregnancy is already, I think, harsh on women. So the fact that we have to go through pregnancy and cancer at the same time, I don't think that would have been positive for me or my baby. I just think that the way things happen and the way things are happening, they usually are the best way.
Were you devastated when you got the news?
Oh yes, of course. I was devastated, and my family was very devastated. I always say that cancer metastasized most of the time because it goes to all the family. So there's a lot of pain and a lot of fear, especially fear, that is in the household of the person who's suffering from this disease. So. So that was it. I think that we've all learned from this, and now I want other people to learn, to not go through the same mistakes I went through, and to know more about this. To me, there was no excuse that I didn't know about this. So I think that what I can do to help people learn about this disease, I will do it. That's why I'm here.
Is it difficult for you to talk about it? I know you do lots of interviews. Whenever you're asked to go back, because I'm sure you've been asked these questions millions of times.
Yes.
Is it still difficult to reminisce on going through chemotherapy and then all the treatments that you've gone through?
No, not at all, actually. I never found it difficult. I understand that it's a taboo to talk about breast cancer, and it's ridiculous because it's not a taboo to talk about breast implants, and it's not a taboo to have a cleavage. So why should it be a taboo to have a sickness that you didn't get by doing something? It's not your fault. You weren't doing anything that was immoral or anything that could be judged. So I got breast cancer, and I think I'm a perfectly honest person, an innocent person to be getting this disease, but it happened to me, and it happens to a lot of nice people, and it happens to a lot of people that aren't nice, and it just happens to people who are rich, people who are poor, white people, black people, everybody.
Everyone is affected by. Now, Dr. Emanuel, we know that whenever you're diagnosed with cancer, the treatments can be very rigorous.
Devastating.
And damaging to the human body. You had chemotherapy. What were some of the other treatments?
Chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and I got a mastectomy.
Would you say they worked? To me, I'm sitting with you, and if you would have never said to me that you were diagnosed with cancer, or I wouldn't have read, I would not have known. And I see you here with Dr. Emanuel, so I know that he must have had some input into your healing, or will be having an input. Let's talk a little bit about that. Where are you now? Are you healed?
Well, I think that cancer, when you're treated with chemotherapy and radiotherapy, I don't think you're always completely healed. I don't believe that. I think that there has to be a healing from within and from the center of your body to the outside of your body. So we treated, out of fear, we just treated this with chemotherapy as fast as we could, and with radiotherapy, and I got the operations.
So aggressive treatment.
Yes, aggressive treatment, because it was very advanced, and it was spreading very fast. So we did this as fast as we could, and I believe that anybody who gets treated this way doesn't necessarily have to be completely healed.